Hey, this is Tyler from Theory of a Dead Man. I'm hanging out with Rob on Front Row Live.
Congratulations with the 7th album. And, Say Nothing feels like it's a lot of the current events going on right now. In saying that, do you feel it's a lot harder to write a record like Say Nothing compared to the previous records that you've written in the past?
Yeah, this one was definitely the most difficult to write. I think because discussing things that maybe were a little outside of what I usually talk about. Talking about relationships is quite easy because we all deal with that. So talking about politics or things like depression, racism, current events, then you're talking from a perspective or maybe a biased point of view. So it's a little scary, but the payoff I feel is much more.
I feel like you guys have been going into like scarier situations, whether it's like changing the sound of the band a little bit, or like just as far as like your name, going from Theory of a Dead Man to just Theory. Like what what went on whenever you guys made those kind of changes that could hinder your fans, or could kind of hinder your music if it's something that your previous fans might not like?
It's interesting because it's. We're all music lovers, so we go through the same thing. Like there's bands that I listen to, like Stone Temple Pilots. Their first record, Core, was like their heaviest record, and then by the third record, they were the completely different band with tiny music. But I thought that was like their best record. But they probably at that point, a lot of fans were like, "What do you do stuff more like Core, man? Like Dead and Bloated and stuff." So I don't know, like, I always try to tell fans, look, our music is always there. You don't have to listen to the new stuff. The old stuff is still there. You can stream it. So, just for us, we can't relive those moments by trying to rewrite those songs. It's never worked, and it never will, unfortunately.
With this 7th album, you guys went back into the studio with Martin back in London. How different was it now that this is a second record that you guys worked with him? How different was it this time around as far as the production goes?
Well, everyone was a lot more comfortable. Yeah, I mean, we worked with Howard Benson for 4 records, so we became so comfortable with him. And he is a great producer. We're still friends and talk, but really felt like just with the direction of our music, we wanted to try something new, and so did our A&R guy. So the first record with Martin, we were all scared to death. He was a Swedish guy. He wanted us to fly out to London to do the record, with a completely different team. Yeah. And it was an amazing experience, but you could tell Martin wasn't too sure, how, he doesn't do a lot of rock bands. So it was a learning experience, I think. And the record turned out so well, that obviously we went back again, and so the second time we went back, it was just like old friends. We walked in the studio, everything just felt great, and we just went right to work, and there was no like breaking in period. We went right to work, and Martin felt so comfortable. He would just sit down on the piano and start playing something, and start yelling, shouting at someone, "Push record!" And it was great. It was just like 5 guys making a record, like we've been doing it forever.
Is there a drastic difference between Howard Benson and Martin?
Yeah, I mean, Howard Benson is the way he works is he kind of has everything is kind of built like a machine, where he has his team, and they all kind of have a certain place in the recording process. Howard likes to do vocals like at his house, like without anybody else, kind of when everything's kind of done. So it's just me and him. And Martin is just a total vibe guy. So we're in this big room, the recording console, everything is in this big room. So there's no separation between production and the band performing. And he doesn't want us to do pre-production. He doesn't want us to learn the songs. We just go in and he just pushes record, and he gets a vibe. And sometimes we'll make mistakes, and he's like, "No, that's good, keep it." And we're like, "Really?" He's like, "Yep." So he loves stuff like that. He loves like getting a good take, and then he wants to keep everything and replace as little as possible. Sometimes he wants to even keep some of my vocal stuff because there's a certain energy to it when we're all playing along. So yeah, there was a big difference. You know, both are great. I think that it was just for us refreshing to try something different, and it's something about those Europeans. I don't know. There's everyone on the team was either Swedish or Danish or English, and it was just the way they do things is so different. And they were speaking Swedish sometimes, and we're like, what are they saying? So it was fun.
Being able to kind of play together while you guys were recording, how did that kind of change up the music that you guys had already written prior to going into the studio? Did you guys feel like there was some, not necessarily drastic changes, but were there any changes to the music as soon as you guys started playing together?
No, a little bit. The biggest change was, I think now we work as a band, but individually we do our own parts in the sense where, like, I would create a demo and send it to Joe, our drummer, and he would put drums on it, and then Dean would listen to it, our bass player, and he would write a bass line. I wouldn't hear the bass line until we get into the studio, and then we would just play it, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, that's the bass line. That's cool. I like that. You know, where before we would all jam so much, where it'd be like, oh, that bass line's really cool. What if you know, so I think now we're kind of working more, it's kind of sad to say, but we're working more as a real band now, where it's like each one of us brings their own individual kind of characteristics to the sound of the song, and Dave will be the only one playing guitar, so there's one guitar track, and that's Dave playing it, and that's it. He's, rather than before, I think it was me and him playing guitars, and we used to track guitars, and, you know, we would play guitar differently, so then it would be like, it would rub in the mix, and we're like, and then so what would happen is we'd have to choose who would play all the guitars in one song. Like, oh, Dave, okay, which was silly because then we got on stage. So it's like, now it's just like, Dave's playing all the guitars on this record, so you can do whatever you want. You want to do some melody thing, that's on a record. So I think now it feels like more like after all these years we're a band, everyone can bring something to the table, and it's exciting.
Now, did you find yourself going back to the piano for this record to kind of gain more inspiration as opposed to like the acoustic guitar or the electric guitar?
Yeah. I think the piano is kind of my place now. Even though I still write stuff on guitar, and I come up with some guitar stuff, but not nearly as much as I used to, and I love that. There is something bigger now to having a singular guitar, almost like you two with the Edge. You would just play something and you'd have to fill that space, and then, you know, the bass player would have to figure out something that can move rather than before having just this wall of guitars. I mean, Dave kind of got sick of the wall of guitars. Just like, it's just a wall of guitars. I mean, you can't even hear what's going on. So yeah, I mean, you know, you can do so many different things on piano. Like I would play like just something similar, like an A, but it would be like an inversion of A, so it would sound so different than what Dave's playing, and it would be fun.
Now, you know, now that you have been gravitating more towards that piano, like, do you feel like that's kind of helping you write differently when it comes to your lyrics?
I think so. It's just a whole new avenue now for me, for creatively wise. You know, I think I kind of wrote every riff I could on the guitar. I think it's tough too in 2020 being in a rock band and having a guitar player be like, "Hey, write a riff," and he's like, "Dude, every riff is taken. It's done. Like anything you write, someone else has written it." So it's kind of tough. So going to piano for me is just refreshing. I'm just like, I come up with something that may be simple, B minor to a D to a G or something, but just the way I play it sounds so different than I would have on guitar that it just, I think, invokes some new creativity and some new lyrics maybe.
As far as creativity, like with this record, was there any like particular track that you guys felt like was giving you the hardest time to kind of like finalize it or even like start it?
Yeah, there was a couple that we struggled with. I think it was History of Violence. Something about History of Violence. The track was there. We just, like, when we were trying to mix it in the studio in London, just get a rough mix, it just didn't sound right. Something wasn't working right. And we're like, something's not right. So we actually did some test mixes with mixers, and we gave them the toughest tracks. We gave them all History of Violence to see who could actually make it sound great, because there was something about it we couldn't figure out what it was. And Neil Alvaron, who mixed our last record, of course, we gave the song to him, and he just the first mix was just out. It was so great. I was like, no comments. It was so good. Like, this is it. It's just got to find the right guy, you know?
Why did you feel so sure about that song, even though it was giving you guys like so much, such a hard time?
I don't know. Maybe it's like a teacher in class, and you got that one student that's just like, there's something about that student. It's like, you know, you got it in you. Come on, I can believe in you. So it's the same thing. It's almost like, you know, there's something there. The lyrics were there. There's anything about the song was there. It just wasn't coming together in the mix. And just like, man, this would be so sad if the song just like didn't turn out because of a mix. So, you know, those are usually good problems. You know, if the song's that close, then that's kind of, now we can kind of get someone else to figure out that problem. If you can't get the lyrics right or something, then that's a big problem.
When you're picking singles, especially for a record like this that's different from your previous records, how do you decide what the next single is? Are you deciding it on the topic? Are you deciding it on, you know, the production of it? Like, how did you guys decide which was going to follow up Violence?
The label usually does. We have our say. We've definitely fought for stuff in the past, but like, they really know what they're doing. They have a radio department that can see what radio is liking, what stuff will work on certain formats. And so we may say, oh, this song's great. And they're like, well, you don't know what you're talking about. And I've been in the past where I fought for a song and be like, they're idiots. And then they went with another song and it became a hit. I'm like, all right, I'll just shut up. So that, yeah, I've learned in the past to shut up. But yeah, I think they had this one picked pretty early. I think, and me and Dave in the band, we gravitated toward this quite early too. Me and him really liked something about this song. Maybe it was just the lyrics. And so we shot a video for it in January. It came out January 31st. So the video's been up on YouTube for a couple months. So it just seems to be ironic that, you know, what's going on with COVID and stuff, that this song seems very timely. So I just wanted people to make sure that we weren't trying to, you know, strategically release a song to try to tug a heartstring or something. It's like, no, this song's been planned for a while. But it is kind of eerie that the song really feels timely right now.
As far as like this record, because it was different topics that you guys were talking about compared to the previous stuff, like, what challenged you the most in the writing process? Is it, you know, making sure you know what you're talking about, or is it like following up on the news? Is it, you know, kind of making sure that it's right or wrong information? Like, what really challenged you with the writing process?
Well, in the past, I just kind of said what's on my mind, and sometimes it's really nasty stuff. Songs like "Bitch Came Back" that is, you know, still a fan favorite. It's like we play it every night. It's quite a misogynistic song. Like, I kind of look back like, man, I really went for it, and I went like. So the songs, like, I look back and I go, I don't know, I would never write that song like today. So I think that the challenge for me was to be a little strategic when I would write a song. I would actually sit down with the lyrics and go, okay, like, I want to make sure that I'm getting the point across, but not being so nasty about it, or being so obvious, or being so biased, you know, with History of Violence, that I didn't want to trigger people, because that song is quite violent.
Yeah.
And I knew that I would get a lot of questions asked, like, why would you write a song about a woman that, would you be afraid to trigger people? So I knew I was going to get questions about it. So, yeah, this album, I thought a lot about the lyrics, where before the older records, I would just write the lyrics and be like, all right, I'm done, like Bad Girlfriend. Just be like, that's it. And then not even think about, you know, the repercussions 10 years later of like, what were you thinking when you wrote that song?
You guys would have been on tour right now, and then followed by the Breaking Benjamin and Bush tour. At a time like this, when you guys are constantly touring, especially now that you know, the new record just dropped, where do you guys see the future of that? Is it something that you guys are kind of taking in day by day, or is there like already a plan being figured out with the label, with management?
Yeah, it's ongoing. It's frustrating because there's no way to know when this is going to start. We're hoping that the summer tour will still happen.
Yeah.
I don't know. We won't be the first to know, unfortunately. But yeah, we just canceled a festival in Czech Republic yesterday, so it's slowly keeping moving through June. Now, sir, I'm like, oh boy. So it's frustrating, but there's not a lot of strategy at this point. All you can do is kind of sit and wait. There is nothing to replace touring. I know people are doing all of these Zoom jams, and we've done some, Zoom stuff on Instagram, and I've done quite a few acoustic performances that I've filmed. But it's not the same. It'll never replace seeing a band live, the adrenaline, the sound, everything.
Right.
So for us, we just want to get back on the road. It's all about trying to figure out when we can get back out there, when it's safe, and have a bunch of people jammed in the place. So that's scary to think. So I don't know. But right now, we're just kind of, everyone's sitting around going, man, like, what can we do in the meantime? I don't know.
I feel like you're gonna get out of this with a new record.
Well, that's the first thing I texted the band. I was like, well, probably start working on some new stuff. And Joe, our drummer, was like, why? What's going on? I'm like, no, I'm just saying, we got a lot of time sitting at home now, so I was have some stuff ready to go.
Are you guys all separated by states, or are you guys all in the same area?
No, we're all over the place. Dave, the guitar player, lives in Chattanooga. He just had a tornado hit his town last week, and he had no power for 8 days. His power just went. It was his birthday this morning, and his power just went on this morning. So happy birthday, Dave!
Jeez, but his house is okay. His family's okay.
Yeah, I missed him by 1 block.
Oh my gosh.
The houses 1 block away were destroyed. He said, "It's crazy." So I mean, the poor guy. I mean, they're already quarantined there, and his wife is a doctor, so I think she's still trying to go and deal with that.
Right.
So it's chaos, man, for a lot of people. But yeah, we're separated, so we don't see each other until we tour.
Man, that's rough.
Yeah,
that's rough. Well, congratulations with this album, another masterpiece that you guys keep creating. Definitely look forward to whenever this is all over. Definitely look forward to the live show for this record, and hopefully you and I can reunite in person and make this happen all over again. So
100%, dude. Yeah, I think this is just the world's on pause for a little while, and everything go back to normal. Maybe little things will be changed. We'll have to get used to certain things being a little different, but then there's going to be a lot of touring, a lot of playing shows.
Got to make up for it, right?
Yeah, for sure.